Welcome. Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us, everyone that's here live for this awesome energy exchange and connection and learning as well. I'm constantly learning from Amanda, and I'm so excited that I get to share that learning process with all of you ladies. So welcome, whether you're live, replay land, we love you. We're sending all of our love out to you, and we're grateful that you're here. Yes, hearts. Before we get started, this is an ongoing workshop that Amanda's created, and it's kind of serving a couple purposes for her. And I thought, you know what, if you have to teach Reiki anywhere, why not teach it here in the Women's Connection and, get two birds with one stone. So I am excited. If you don't know Amanda, we have been best friends since grade 7. We were the misfits. She was in the special education class. I was bullied and chubby and teacher's pet, and somehow our paths crossed. And ever since then, we've been connected in some way. Even though we went like 10 years without speaking to each other, we were still connected on a very similar journey, we found out later. And actually, I first had my Reiki experience with Amanda when she was my osteopath. So I didn't realize what it was at the time. I just knew that Amanda something about her hands could get, inside of me as she was working on me and aligning me. So it was really amazing. But I didn't know what that was at the time, and just understanding and learning more about this power that we actually all have within ourselves, and then she's not just this superhuman person, and I can actually do this myself, has been amazing. And it's really helped me in a lot of areas where I feel unbalanced or where I'm actually in pain, and I can correct that myself. So I'm really excited. If you are here and you haven't watched any of the previous sessions, all of the replays are in our Elite Women's Connection Elite Facebook group, and you can access them. But we're glad that you're here live. I'm so grateful that Amanda is able to share this message with everyone out there, with all the ladies in the Women's Connection. So I'll get myself out the way. I'm in student mode too, and here to learn and enjoy and connect with all of you. So she did say there were special instructions that you need a pen and paper. So if you don't have that, you can go run, grab that. And a bowl that's safe for burning. And if you don't have anything like that, then you can always burn later. But yeah, just that we're going to be doing some releasing exercises with your pen and paper and a bowl to burn. I like to use like a metal bowl, usually works good for me. And sage if you have it. So I'm gonna pass it over to Amanda. It's all yours, girl.
Hi ladies, thanks for joining us tonight. I'm really excited. We're gonna be covering fears and the 3 steps in letting go for healing. So this is, I love seeing all the new faces, and Layla and I, we always like to address everything in accordance to the medicine wheel. So first and foremost, I always have to give some thanks to my teachers, my mentors. A lot of the teachings tonight actually have come from Layla herself. I've kind of gathered them throughout the years, and I've amalgamated them into this program. So I'm really excited to have you all here. I also wanted to give some reference to some books. Lena from the last class, she was asking me, what books have I gathered to conform this information? And like I said the last time, I really want to encourage everyone to understand what their own truth is, okay? So when you're reading the books, I don't want you to take every word as your own personal truth. I want you to really sit with it and, listen to the information, read the information that comes across, and see whether it really sits with you. Because if it doesn't sit with you, then you don't need to hold on to it. It's not something that's going to serve you. So I'm suggesting these books, but understand that I've filtered through a lot of kind of the jargon talk of these books to get the juicy information, so that I've simplified it, and it's not, getting into kind of the witchy woo type information. Okay, so I'm going to give you some references here. So first and foremost, I have to thank my mentor, Andrea. This is my module. So a lot of the information is coming from my Reiki master teacher herself. Okay, I've been studying with Andrea for the past 2.5 years, and I'm still a Reiki student. However, my Reiki mastery is a lot longer than most programs. It's like almost a university type program that I have to do. I have to do book studies and case studies and all that kind of stuff, volunteer hours. But it really gets me to the point where I feel comfortable saying that I am a Reiki master, because I'm really involved with it every single day. And I'm not talking about, just in the morning or just at night. I'm involved with it every moment of every single day. I live Reiki. I breathe Reiki. I am Reiki. So, this is why I really have to thank Andrea for her teachings, because she's filled in a lot of gaps for me. The next book I want to show you here is a Reiki, the 7 Chakras for Essential Guide. This is by Richard Ellis. This book has given me a lot of material that I haven't really discovered over the last 10 years of me doing Reiki. So I have been doing it for 10 years, but like I said, I've just been doing my mastery in the last 2.5 years. But there was some really great information that I never even discovered until I read this book. So this is a really good book. This one I really love. This is called the ABC Chakra Therapy. Tonight, we're not just going to be doing Reiki. We're actually going to be utilizing all different forms of chakra therapy. Okay, so there's colors that we're going to probably be utilizing. I actually brought my drum as well tonight, just because we're working on the base chakra, and the base chakra is the sound of the heartbeat. Okay, so it is the drum. The drum is our heartbeat of Mother Earth. So we're going to be listening to some of the drumming tonight while we're going through the releasing rituals. Okay, another great book that was suggested by my mentor, Andrea, is Wherever You Go, There You Are. And this is by John Kabat-Zinn. Okay, this, if you like to meditate, this is an awesome book for you to be reading, okay? As you can see, still, I've read it several times and I'm still reading through it because there's so much good information in this book. So those are the references that I'm utilizing tonight, as well as in past presentations, as well as in future presentations. And I just want to thank all of those authors for sharing their knowledge, their information base, so that I could, pick snippets that are my truth and be able to share that with you all. And I would also like to thank Grandfather Black Bear, as well as Shore Charno, which are my Indigenous mentors. Shore actually was the one who helped me build my drum. And in the Indigenous wisdom, we have to honor, well, we don't have to, but we like to rather, honor the drum, because the drum is our grandmother. And so when we bring our drum out, we're never really allowed to touch it right onto the floor. And we really have to take care of it. So we actually give it to water and food after we're done utilizing it, so that the spirit that's still held within the drum can be fed. Okay, so I just wanted to give you a little bit of info on the drum before I start using it. And then last, before I pass it off to all of you, I just want to give some gratitude. I just want to, say thank you to the spirit that moves through all things for giving me, the peace within myself today. I'm about 4 months pregnant right now, and I've been going through a lot of headaches and nausea and all that fun stuff that comes with pregnancy. But I'm so appreciative that I am pregnant and that I am able to present to you all because I've been kind of down and out for the last few days. So that's my gratitude for today. And like I said, we love to start off with the medicine wheel and utilize the medicine wheel method. So I'm going to pass it off to all of you, and if you could all give me just one word of gratitude for today. So who would like to start first? Any volunteers?
I was going to say my word is food, and I am grateful for healthy, nutritious food. As like everywhere you look, I feel like it's like a scary world out there of what you're buying and feeding to your family. And just knowing that I can have some control over the food that I'm eating and my kids are eating. So good food.
I'll go.
Yeah, Deanna.
Layla, it's so good to see you. I'm so happy to be here tonight. I am grateful for air. Air. I live in Utah, and our whole entire state has been on fire for weeks, and it's actually almost clear today in Utah. So I'm thankful for clean air today. So.
Thank you, Deanna.
Awesome.
Of course.
Anyone else?
I'll say family, because they keep me grounded, and it's a blessing that everything that they bring for life right now. So I say family.
Awesome.
Yes, beautiful. Thank you.
Julie?
Selena.
The means. And that's going to sound a little strange, but I had the means to be able to take care of my puppy who needed unexpected surgery to remove some bone chips out of her leg. And so I was very thankful that I had the means to be able to take care of her.
Awesome. Now, before I pass it to Amanda and she starts with all of the training tonight, can we just take a quick screenshot? So put your like smile faces on. Sometimes I take screenshots when people don't know I'm doing it, but then they always have like a half face. Like, no, don't post that. So just a beautiful smile about the energy that we're about to receive, and grateful for all you ladies. 1, 2, 3. Gotcha. Awesome. Okay. Thank you. I am grateful for all of you. Appreciate you.
So I'm going to ask all of you to just come to your still place within yourselves. We're going to start off with visualization, and we're going to really start to engage our root. Okay. A lot of people in life, what prevents them from grounding and earthing is this fear, and that's what we're really going to address tonight. So I want to start off with giving you an understanding of the way that your root chakra feels before we do the release, and then be able to give you that opportunity to feel the difference once we're done the release. So everybody just come to that still place and take some nice deep cleansing breaths in. So blowing it out. And I want you to just close your eyes and just settle in. Just settle into yourself. And I want you to utilize your mind's eye. So that third eye, just right in between your eyebrows here. And I want you to create a circle. So just draw a circle. And what this is representing is we're creating a safe place here. We're creating the safety to feel, to listen, to be still, and to express. Breathe into that space. take your next deep breath in, what I would like you to do is I want you to visualize the earth energy coming up into your body. And when you breathe out, you're connecting with that earth energy again, pushing it down. Breathing in the earth and breathing down the earth. Bringing you right here, right now. The next deep breath in, what I would like you to do is I would like you to do a Kegel exercise. If any of you don't know what a Kegel exercise is, it's just tightening your pelvic floor. So sometimes I like to visualize it as an elevator. And what you're going to do is you're going to lift the elevator up when you breathe in. And when you breathe out, you're just going to relax that pelvic floor. If you can do that again. Breathe in, tighten that pelvic floor. Breathe out, relax that pelvic floor. Last time. Breathe in, tighten that pelvic floor. Breathe out, relax that pelvic floor. So the next thing we're going to do, because we are going to get into really deep emotions here, is we're going to create a visualization in order for us to kind of not spew our emotions everywhere, okay? So what I would like you to do is I would like you to breathe that earth energy into your heart, okay? And then when you breathe out, I'm gonna ask you to be almost like a Care Bear. You know, the Care Bear shine comes out their belly, but we're gonna pretend it's coming out of your heart and it's gonna surround you completely, okay? So take a deep breath in, breathe in that earth energy into the heart. When you breathe out, you're pushing that energy out and surrounding yourself in a large bubble around you. So do that again. Perfect. So at any time that you feel an emotion released, what it's going to do is it's going to hit the barrier of this bubble that you formed. And it's just going to melt back down and it's going to go back into the earth, okay? So at any time that you feel the emotion become overwhelmed, understand you're in this safe space, you're in this safe circle, and that your emotion is not going to be mimicked by anybody else that is in this space with us, that it's just going to be completely grounded again. So I'm just going to ask you all to please bring your hands to your heart center in prayer position. And I'm just going to recite the precepts of Reiki, just to remind us of what we want to be mimicking. Just for today, do not anger. Just for today, do not worry. Just for today, respect all parents, elders, and teachers. Just for today, I will do my work diligently. Just for today, I will be kind to all beings. And just for today, I will show gratitude in all the moments of my life. Breathe all of those messages in and release. Last breath, breathe that earth in. And then breathe the universal energy out. Perfect. Now if everybody wants to come back into the room, into this safe place. Hello, hello. So I'm just gonna pull up the presentation now. Just enjoy the feeling in which Reiki is. You know, this relaxed, tranquil feeling. That's how I interpret it anyways. Everybody feels Reiki at their own pace and in their own way. And just enjoy it as I pull this presentation up. Perfect. Okay, so like I said, we're still doing the healthy development of our chakra system series, and we're actually in the part 2 of it, and we're really going to be dabbling into the fear and our 3 steps in letting go for healing. So fear. What is fear? I actually started to see a new massage therapist, and she gave me this acronym, which I thought was brilliant. So I really wanted to share it with you all today. And fear actually stands for false evidence appearing real. So the way that I was encouraged to understand it before I was given that acronym is to understand that fear is just a barrier to our unfoldment. And everybody is on their own personal journey here to find their own medicines, to find their own healing, and to really live within that path that they're walking, that alignment in which they really value in life. So fear is just really a barrier, like this tree is on this path, and it impedes our personal development. And so therefore we really want to deal with fear because we don't want this to prevent us from, growing and evolving and expanding into the being that we truly want to be while we're here on earth. So how does fear manifest? So of course, many people can attest to this, that fear is a very negative feeling. Fear leads to a constriction and a restriction of the life force energy. So the way that this was described to me in the best sense was that it creates these vortexes within our energy fields. And these vortexes just feed upon itself. And that's what actually creates physical ailments within our being. So with fear comes dis-ease. Like I said, it creates that vortex or dis-ease in the energy field. It also creates anger and worry and disrespect, not only of other people, but of ourselves, and also isolation or separation. And this is one of the biggest problems that I really find that these days is when people feel that they're separated from one another, because the truth of the matter is that we are all one. We all come from the same consciousness, and we all are reflections of one another. That's why we're here, to learn from each other. So fear undermines all of the healthy states of our base chakra, our root chakra, and this causes weakness in our foundation, and this really wastes our energy. So fear prevents us from being in a healthy state of inner relaxation, that calm, that tranquility. And by doing that, it paralyzes us from our basic needs: food, shelter, water. Fear can help us to misconstrued intent. So, somebody might intend good and peace and all of that, but if their own fears start to creep in, it can really alter that intent in which they originally set out. And this causes us to add and give power to that negative force. Okay, but we have to understand that us ourselves are creating this negative force. It's not an external entity that's creating the negative force. It's within us. So all of you ladies that were here for the last presentation, you remember me talking about Nizangita, that sacred tree, or the Lord of the sacred tree, that symbology. And I really enjoyed that presentation because I personally actually took a lot away from it. And I started to reflect and process this. And one thing that I really started to understand on a very deep level is this sacred tree is within us. And so we really have to understand that when it even comes to fear, is that fear it can be encouraged externally, but it really is created internally, and it continues to distort and to really create that delusion within ourselves. So if we can really manifest it on a physical level, bringing it outside of the self, then we can truly deal with it. And that's what we're going to be exploring tonight. So why does fear manifest? So fear comes into our lives fear comes into our lives when we're lost and when we're confused. Okay, so when there's a true confliction, and a lot of these conflictions are from the internal to the external. So, we believe our truth inside of us, but our external environment is telling us the opposite of what we feel is the truth within our heart. Okay, so fear is actually used in order for us to create clarity and truth within our being. So it serves a really great purpose within our lives. And when you kind of look at it that way, it doesn't feel so overwhelming and overbearing. So how do we deal with these fears? So you have two choices here. You can either forget everything and run. Okay, and this is our primal instinct. This is our sympathetic nervous system, or SNS response. Okay, and it really creates all of these physical ailments. Your pupils dilate. You start to breathe very heavily and fast. Your heart rate increases. You increase inflammation and swelling within your body. And so a really important thing for us to do is when we're facing fear is to really engage with that breath. Because what happens is we have our primal brain within our brain. So our brain is multi-layered. And that primal brain is the core brain. It's actually our reptilian type brain. And so if you think about it, reptilians aren't as advanced as a human being. So what we need to do is we need to bring it from that subconscious fight and flight mechanism, breathe into that space, and pull it into the outer brain, which is our more conscious, our more Homo sapien brain. So the second choice is you can face everything and rise. So I utilize the eagle in this picture because the eagle in the indigenous wisdom is the symbol of being able to see the bigger picture. And when you start to really address your fears, when you start to really, explore them in a greater sense and on a deeper connection, you start to be able to open that possibility. Okay, so it's not just going from that narrow tunnel vision, right? That you can only see what's within this spectrum, to broadening your horizon, being able to see the greater spectrum here. When I look at balance, for instance, if you look at a scale, I always say the center of that scale is generally our focus. And on one side of the scale is generally the positive perspective, and then on the other side of the scale, there's that negative perspective. But in order for us to truly make an informed decision in life, we have to be able to see both possibilities, the positive and the negative. Okay, and that's what this does. When we face our fears, we rise above that tunnel vision. So what actions do we need to take in order to rise up? So some points here are through speaking of what we're fearful of and what we experience, we come to understand the greater purpose of it. And it creates a ease within the fear when we speak of it. So, if I want you to really understand that when you speak of your fears, you need to be doing it in a safe place. If you don't feel like you have safety in another individual, you have to find a space that you can create that safety. For me, personally, it started with the tree outside of my house, and I still speak to the trees around my home when I really need to process something, especially when it's fear-based. So I encourage that if you can't find an individual that's a safe place for you, seek nature, because nature doesn't judge. Nature doesn't even speak back, right? They're just completely and utterly present with you. And so you can explore that fear in both of those possibilities. So knowledge and understanding is light. And remember, we are light beings. We're the spectrum of white light. We're the rainbow. And fear is darkness. And so if we shed light, understanding, and knowledge upon this darkness, it can't be dark anymore. It's not possible. So another great understanding to have is that if we send out love vibration into the ether, into the air, it will gather the vibration of love and it will bring it back to us, okay? But this applies for every single thought, every single intention that you have, every single word that you speak, every single action that you take. It's going to come back 10 times fold, okay? So when it comes to hate or fear, this rule also applies. So just become mindful of what you're focusing your attention on. Remember, fear brought into the open and understood can have no power over us. And most patterns of fear have existed for generations. So, parents that have always worried about putting food on the table or having enough finances, enough money, even if you have a really great job and you have a full fridge constantly, you still have that fear embedded in the DNA structure. So when we're doing this fear or worry purge, if it comes up in your mind, even though it doesn't seem real, remember, the fear is false evidence appearing real. It doesn't mean that it's real evidence, okay? I still want you to write it down on your piece of paper because it is relevant. It is within your being, even though it might not make logical sense, okay? So survival fears, the basic needs, food, shelter, water, and love, are programmed during our formative years. So when we're a child, even as a baby, and even in womb, okay? So, that's one thing that I have been really encouraging myself a lot lately, is to purge my fears, because I am with child, and everything transcends the placenta. It goes into the DNA structure. So if I'm not dealing with it, then my children have to deal with it. So this is another thing. If you can't really understand where this fear is coming from, you kind of think that it's illogical, still address it, because it might be coming from the previous generation or multiple previous generations. Okay, that's one thing that Indigenous wisdom always talks about, is the 7 generations. We have to really think about how we were impacted by the last 7 generations, and how our thoughts, our words, our actions, our intents are going to be impacting the next 7 generations. So we really need to build our foundation, our brain patterning, our emotional nature on 2 things. One is boundaries, healthy boundaries, and the other one is accountability, okay, or responsibility. So this, was a really great question for me, and so I'm going to pose for all of you ladies tonight, is if we are all one, how do we create boundary? You don't have to answer it. I just want to put it out there for you to be able to ponder and process and really understand, because we will be addressing these 2 things in the next series. And, it's a beautiful thing once you actually understand the truth behind boundaries and responsibility. So let's get to this fear and worry purge. I know that some of you have done this in the past with Layla before, but if you haven't done it, welcome to this really awesome purging that, like I said, Layla taught me a while back, and I utilize it all the time. So, if you don't have a pen and paper tonight, don't worry, just, listen. You can even, just process it within your head, okay? And then just use the visualizations throughout, or, we're going to be doing the physical action, but you can just do the visualization in your mind's eye, and it will also help as well. So are you ladies ready to purge some fears and worries? Give me a thumbs up if you're ready. Yeah. Awesome. Okay, excellent. So step 1, we're going to take our piece of paper and we're going to draw a spiral on it. So starting in the center of the paper, can you see that there? I don't know if you can see that. And you're going to draw all the way out to the outer edge, and it's just going to be a spiral. Yeah, perfect. If you can't see mine, look at Layla's. She has it. Awesome. And then step 2, we're going to write down any thoughts or emotions or fears that come up onto this paper. So I'm going to give you some time to jot down these fears, okay? And I'm going to start drumming for all of you. Like I said, the drum beat is the heartbeat of the earth, and I just want to start to really engage your connection again with the earth. So you guys can go ahead and start purging your fears and worries.
Oh, excuse you. And And one thing to think about as you purge these fears is just not to have any judgment or criticism of yourself, like, oh, I shouldn't be afraid of that, or, oh, I shouldn't write that down because I don't want that fear in my life. Consider this your like get out of jail free card. So when you write it down, no matter how deep you have pulled this from, yes, then you are actually releasing that. So you want to put down those fears you're afraid to talk about. You want to write down those what ifs that are creeping in the back of your mind, and do it without judgment. Just purge, put it out there on the paper, and the more that you can fill that paper up, the more of these fears that you will release. And I am a huge believer in fear, especially since my friend Annette is pregnant right now, and we both went through something similar, a training with hypnobirthing, and they talk a lot. This is kind of how I say that I was able to deliver my children naturally, and almost eliminate the pain from eliminating the fear, and doing these purges with the fears that I was having as a new mom and not knowing what to expect, and then having another baby, all these fears definitely were percolating. And if I hadn't gone through these processes to release them, then that's where complications happen, and the pain of delivering your baby actually comes into place. So definitely clear the space, kind of sink into the drum beat, and fill your paper, whatever comes up. Emmy likes the drum. She's like, yeah, it's getting filled. You singing? just when you think you can't possibly think of one more fear, out they pop.
Excellent. So how's
Awesome.
everybody doing? You okay? Excellent. Okay,
Yeah.
so let's
That was amazing.
You enjoyed that?
Absolutely.
Great.
Absolutely. I feel like there was a shaman coming through you or something. It was really, really nice. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
I have flies all over me. I'm sitting in my backyard and the flies are attacking me. Maybe they love me. They love my beautiful green energy right now. I don't know.
Flies actually represent the cleansing of negative energy.
How
Mhm.
perfect is that? Everything is perfect.
So step 3, we're going to poke a hole right in the center of that spiral. You can be a kid again, and you can twirl it around if you want. Bring some childlike energy back in. So whenever I'm talking to my mentorees about, the steps in healing, one of the steps we talk about is quieting a cluttered mind. So I want you all to just peek through that hole for a second. And I want you to understand that you peeking through that hole, that's the way that you look at life right now.
That's not good.
Right? All this stuff that's on this piece of paper, all these fears, all these worries are what's the clutter. It is the clutter that's in that mind. And so this purge really helps to quiet that mind, really helps to eliminate that clutter, so that you can have that clarity within your mind, instead of dealing with that clutter in that brain of yours. So it's a great visualization. And then step 4, what we're going to do is, we already did that. And then step 5, rather, is that we're going to burn the paper.
Burn it!
Yeah.
I love fire.
So if any of you have sage, sage is always great to start to burn before you fear purge. Just because it helps to cleanse any of that negativity. Like Deanna, if you have flies, they're good too.
Seriously, I worked out and I was sweaty, and maybe I just smell good. I'm not sure.
Either way.
Right?
So you can start to do the burning. Make sure that it's, in a safe place. You don't want it to go out of control. If you don't want to burn right now, that's fine. You don't have to. But if you want to take a moment and you want to completely release it, then go ahead, go burn it. And then the last step that you're going to do is you're going to actually return the ashes back to the earth, and you're going to stomp on them. And you're going to say, so be it, so it is done. And we like to do this 3 times, right? Just stomp all over and just say, so be it. So it is done. So be it, so it is done. And this physical burning, one of the medicines that I have been taught most recently is the medicine of the phoenix. And this burning, this physical visual of burning these fears up, and I want you to take that time when you're burning this piece of paper to look at that paper, go up in these ashes, because you're the phoenix. You're truly taking what no longer serves you, and you're burning it to purify it. And then you're taking those ashes and you're returning them back to Mother Earth, and you're saying, hey, Mother Earth, I know that this energy, can be transmuted, it can be utilized again in your presence. So So I don't really need this anymore, and I'm going to give it back to you. And so I want you to even use that visual of that phoenix bird, burning right up into flames and then rebirthing itself again into this new little bird. And in saying that, start to sit back within yourself and be present with yourself for a moment after you've done this burning, because you are rebirthed again. You're shedding what no longer serves you, what was, and you're allowing yourself to be in the present, in what is right now. And that's what provides purpose. So how's everybody doing with their burning? Are you all finished? Yeah.
I will burn a little bit later. I'm not sitting somewhere I can safely burn. Like I told you, Utah's on fire, so
Yeah.
I have a gully behind my backyard, so I'll go do that somewhere safe. But I just want to tell you, I know that you believe in synchronicity and all that kind of stuff. You just mentioned the phoenix.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny because I've known Layla for a long time, and for whatever reason, I haven't been able to join in some of these things or whatever. I was busy. And tonight I was free. So I'm like, may I join you? You mentioned the phoenix. And just last week, my husband and I, who were separated for many months, we got back together just a little bit ago. And we've decided that we're going to get phoenix tattoos. Mine on the right and his on the left. And so I absolutely just love the whole synchronicity of the universe. And so it feels really good right now. Thank you.
Oh, well, thank you for joining us. Like you said, it was meant to be, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
and the Phoenix medicine goes very, very deep. It's we just know it as a mythology, really, and it goes so much deeper than what we realize.
Oh,
and
yes.
I've been fortunate enough to be able to have this medicine. I haven't had the permission to share it yet, so I have to still keep it to myself, but hopefully one day I'll have that permission to be able to share it with you all, because it creates that magic within ourselves, and that interconnectedness that you're talking about, that synchronicity, that fluidity, that harmony that's amongst every single thing that is within this earth. And so I'm really excited for the day that I am able to share the full concept of this Phoenix medicine, which hopefully will be soon.
That will be awesome.
Mm-hmm. So we're going to, now that we've done this fear purge, I want to just cover briefly the 3 steps in letting go for healing. We've kind of already, covered them in a sense, but I just want to, be able to give you that that literature so that you have it available for yourself in the future. So this quote, a person that creates turmoil has to choose to let it go. So you have to choose to let it go. So many people can encourage you to let it go, can say to you, you have to let it go, but it has to ultimately become your choice. Okay. And sorry, I'm just going to put grandmother back up there. She was sitting on my lap, and pregnancy lower back is getting at me, so I got to adjust a little bit. So I really want you to understand that it's your choice, okay? Just like, with the fears, you had 2 choices there. Here's another choice that you have to make. And that's really something that we're here to do, is to express the freedom of choice, okay? So the number 1 step to letting go for healing is becoming aware. And like Layla said, becoming aware is something that we need to do in order to let go, but we need to do this in a non-judgmental environment, okay? So, this is a really great topic that I really didn't understand the full concept of until maybe the last couple of years. And, you know, there's a difference between discernment and judgment.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, when we're discerning something, we're understanding whether it's in alignment with our truth, with, you know, what we value, and it's creating safety and security for ourselves. Okay. When it comes to judgment, it's more of that external thing again, comparisons, thinking more black and white mentality, good or bad. I want you to get away from that, because truly in a balanced state of well-being, everything is, you know, like Deanna said, everything is perfect the way that it's supposed to be. It's just we need to be able to observe it in a fully and complete manner in order to learn from it, because that's what we're here as spiritual beings to do, is to completely learn from the life experiences that we have. It's not, you know, our society has really driven us to only look at and appreciate the coming together in a cycle. But we've never really been encouraged to appreciate and learn from the reflection and integration, the coming apart, the falling away, or the phoenixing, the burning up of the phoenix in order for it to be reborn. We're always encouraged to, you know, be that newborn, that baby bird, and to really understand our focus and our action, but we're never really encouraged to understand the reflection and integration. So I want to encourage this within all of you, because I personally have found that I learn in a deeper sense through the coming apart than I have ever learned through the coming together. So and I'm sure that many of you can attest to that, right? Yep. So really get to this place of being able to observe everything within your being, your beliefs, your traumas, your stressors, and your distortions. You know, let the situation play out in complete fullness, and then go back and reflect upon that situation, because in a non-judgmental manner, because you can really learn what your distortions are. You can really learn where your disconnections are just through pure observation. And like I told you all in the last presentation, Grandfather Black Bear always encourages me to understand animal medicine. And, you know, symbology, animal medicine, all it is it's parts of our natural being. And so these animals and these symbols continually give way to new understandings. And one of the greatest things that he's told me is to look at an animal and see its biggest feature, because that is its greatest medicine provider. And if you think about human beings, our greatest feature, our biggest feature on our being is our eyes, okay? And so we're really here to observe. We're here to utilize all 6 of our senses, but we're really here to observe and learn the lessons through observation. So I encourage that in all of you, is to take the time, become aware, and aware in a non-judgmental fashion.
Amanda, can I ask you a quick question?
Yes.
So, as you're talking about becoming aware and learning from your lessons and whatnot, how do you feel about perspective? I've learned, I study quantum physics, and animal medicine is my greatest thing. Absolutely. I am so in tune with animals, but how do you feel about perspective, I think, and judgment? Because I think we get so, you know, in this one way, it can only be one way, right? Like this black or white situation that you sort of mentioned. For me, going through so many of my challenges was like, well, maybe it could be this, or maybe it could be that. And utilizing my spirit animals, my spirit guides, has really helped me open up to a different perspective and not be so, grounded in what society tells me it should be. I'm doing an A to Z actually every day. I look up a different animal, and they come to me whatever they need to be, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm on M. It's very exciting. It's very fun. But that has really broadened my perspective of how I see my challenges. So I'm just curious how you feel about perspective and learning.
So, Layla and I, we always talk about glasses because it's the easiest way to put it. And, Andrea, my mentor, she talks about this a lot as well, is that through our experiences and through our history within our lives right now and within our past lives, we hold our perspective through these glasses of experience. And so, like you said, it narrows the prospect of possibility. All right. Like I said before, if we think about that scale, that balancing scale, most of us have this focus, a center point. But a lot of us are so caught up in this focus that we don't take the time to reflect on the greater possibility of things. And so, like you said, the animal cards or the animal medicine really allows you to understand those other possibilities within your being, because once you read that animal medicine and read the characteristics that animal holds, and you understand that you are one, that is within you, it broadens that possibility of perspective. So that's really why I personally turn to different forms of medicine, different forms of symbology, to help myself to understand what my potential is in possibility. But when it does come to perspective, a lot of people perspective is just through their personal experience of their past.
Right.
So if they can take those glasses off and be able to have other means of seeing our potential, because our potential is a lot greater than we even give ourselves credit to, or credit for, rather.
Right.
It just broadens. It broadens that, in my eyes, magic. It broadens that, that perspective, that possibility of, what we may become, what we may be reborn into. And like I told you all in the last presentation, Layla asked me to do these teachings for a few years now, and fear was the biggest thing that prevented me from getting on, the computer and speaking to all of you about my own personal truths. And so, I am the greatest testament to Reiki, because, Reiki is one of the best medicines, one of the best tools that I have found to be able to broaden that possibility, that potential, that perspective. So we all have to find our own medicine. Like I said, I'm going to be utilizing multiple different therapies, and I encourage all of you to, find what works for you. Some people may love the drum beat, but other people might feel resistance towards that. And it's okay. That is okay. You just have to find what works for you.
Absolutely.
Does that answer your question there, Deanna?
Absolutely. Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. Mm-hmm.
So let's move on to some reflection questions, actually, now that we've discussed that part of, the cycling, the natural cycling. I always encourage in observation and in processing to ask yourself questions in order to create more depth and connection within your own being. So you can ask yourself, what have I chosen to hold within my energy field? Okay, what vortexes am I holding on to? Okay, what creates resistance and causes suffering? So what am I attaching to? You know, whether it be material things, whether it be old belief systems, you know, there's a multitude of things that we can truly attach ourselves to. The next question is, how do I sense? And I'm asking you to sense with all 6 senses, okay? Smell, taste, sight, hearing, touch, and then that, you know, just that overall sensation, that 6th sense. I feel it in my gut. And when you're doing that, understand, you know, the ways in which you feel resistance. You know, I feel resistance when I get headaches. I feel resistance if I start to feel dizzy or nauseous in an environment. I know that there's that confliction from my internal to my external. Stressors, really understanding your stress processes, right? You want to know when you're engaging your sympathetic nervous system, when you're overwhelmed, when you need to take a time out, and you need to understand your parasympathetic nervous system, your rest and digest, your relax and restore. So what are the activities? What are the things that you can do in order to take you out of that overwhelming sensation, that stressor, into that relaxation? The next thing is trauma. Traumas are always, you know, more difficult to explore, but they're, in order for you to truly deal with the trauma, it's something that needs to be addressed. And you don't have to address it in taking yourself back to that trauma necessarily, but you can start to really explore it through sensations. You know, if you have a trigger, understanding that that trigger leads to the way that you felt when you were experiencing that trauma. Okay, and just really really engulfing yourself in that sensation so that you can better understand what your defense mechanisms are, what your responses are, your reactions are to those traumas or to those stressors. And then also understanding your distortions or your delusions within your brain patterning, your psyche. Another question is, what are you focused on? This is one of the greatest questions, and many people at first, when they're starting to connect with themselves and explore themselves, don't really know where their focus is. They don't understand their why. You know, and that's one thing that I greatly encourage in everyone. Layla uses this all the time, the why statement. The best place that I learned about this is actually through Sheila Hinton's Brand Yourself Like a Pro. She has a Facebook fan page. If you really want to understand your why, your personal why or your business why, this is your focus, right? So check out that page, and she'll guide you through it in a very easy and simplified manner. I really loved going through that with her. And then also asking yourself, what is your truth? You know, always coming to that place of understanding if you're reading something or you're hearing something from somebody else, from an external source, asking yourself, is this true for me? Because if it's not true, it's not going to serve you, and there's no purpose on you holding on to that or having that within your mind or your brain. What creates and subsides stress? Like I said, you need to understand your sympathetic fight and flight mechanism versus your parasympathetic, your rest and digest or relax and restore nervous systems. And then what emotions do I feel when I have that thought or take that action? You really need to understand that we're a whole being, our spiritual, our mental, our emotional, and our physical, and they correspond with one another. So, you know, if you're under severe amounts of stress, or if you've just gone through a traumatic experience, you need to understand not only, the physical sensation, but also the mental and the emotional senses that you go through. And whether you become disconnected from the earth, the ground, or from spirit, from the universe. So step number 2 in the 3 steps in letting go is acceptance. This, I think for many people, this is one of the most challenging of all 3 of these steps. I want you to really understand that it's not about changing something. It's just truly embracing it and learning from the experience. Like I said, when you're going through a natural cycle, you focus, you create the action, that's the coming together, and then the coming apart is the reflection and the integration. And that's probably the part that's the most challenging to accept, is that coming apart, is that reflection and that integration. Because a lot of, those deep patternings start to rise up and start to really try to create that barrier from us moving forward, from us unfolding into this new birthed being. So make sure you take the time to process and reflect. I find with so many of the women that I mentor that they don't take that time to process. They don't take that time to reflect. They're all gung-ho when it's like, they're ready to learn the material and they're ready to act upon learning the material. But when I say to them, okay, now it's time for us to take some space, they're like, no, I just want more of the material. And, the greatest connection comes from this reflection and really comes from this integration, applying it into your life, seeing what works for you, because you fill your toolbox up. When you come upon another situation that you have those tools handy right there in your toolbox, and you can utilize them if you take that time to reflect. If you don't, it's just another tool in the toolbox that's probably going to get rusty, okay, because you're not going to use it. So this 3rd step in the 3 steps in letting go for healing is changing your focus. So like we were saying about perspective, you really need to understand how to change your focus. And one of the greatest things that we do with the medicine wheel teachings is we first and foremost start with gratitude, thanksgiving. So changing the focus to abundance, prosperity, and understanding your alignment, your why, like I've said prior to this. So in order for us to rewrite our brain patterning, we have to understand what we're focusing on, what actions we take through the focus in which we hold. Okay, so if you're saying to yourself, I'm in alignment with health, and then you go and for instance, you go and talk to somebody and you start putting yourself down. That's not really aligning yourself with health. That's aligning yourself with hurt and harm. And so you really want to become aware of that and not judge it. If it happens, then it happens, because you're supposed to learn from that happening. But also at the same time, be observant of that happening so that you can understand that this is not in alignment with my why. I am here to align myself with health, and therefore I need to reinforce that health through, creating positive affirmations of myself. I am healthy. I am loved. I am cared for. I unconditionally love myself. I am present. So another thing to help you with your focus is to ask yourself, is this habit, action, thought, intention serving me? It's one of the greatest things that I've really understood over the last few months is, it's not about loving something because that creates that attachment. It's truly about understanding whether it serves you. There's been even people in my life that I realize that I love them, to the end of the day, but at the same time, the relationship is no longer serving me. So therefore, I need to let them go so that they can, either form a new relationship that will serve them better, or they just need to be able to create that space in order to reconnect with themselves, and same with me, for me to reconnect with myself, or for me to have space provided to allow for a better serving relationship to come in. Material objects, the same thing. If it's been sitting in your closet for 5 years because, this was me the other day, because it had a hole in it and you didn't sew it, then you don't really need it because it's been sitting in your closet for 5 years. Give it to somebody who will sew that hole up and will utilize it, and it will serve them, right? So we really need to understand whether things are serving us. So I want to ask you all, we've talked about fears, we've talked about the 3 steps in letting go for healing. Layla has this really great process that I've captured on paper, and it really allows us to dig deeper. It really allows us to connect on this deeper level, and being able to find the cause of our brain patterning, to find the cause of why we act upon something that's totally opposite to what we're focusing on, or totally opposite to what our intent is or what our thought is, right? So if you are interested in, exploring these steps, having these steps available for you to explore on your own time in your own safe place, I'm going to ask you to do a few things for me, because I believe in energy, as you all know, and energy comes through exchange, okay? I'm not giving you energy, but right now I'm helping you to understand medicine teachings. And so I ask you, if you want more of these medicine teachings, that you go on to Layla and I's private mentoring group fan page. It's called 4 Directions Mentoring on Facebook. And I just want you to like that page for us, give us a little bit more traffic on that page. And then, of course, if you haven't liked the Women's Connection, I'm hoping that all of you have, because you probably wouldn't be here if you didn't. But make sure you're liking the Women's Connection fan page, and following it, so that you're getting all of the coaches' experiences, insights, teachings that they have available to you all. And then after you've done that, I want you to message me saying that you like the 4 Directions fan page, and I will give you a shared link to the 4 Directions handout that has all of the material that we've covered today, as well as those steps that are needed to take in order for you to be able to understand those causes of your brain patterning and to really explore them in an in-depth manner. So we've purged our fears, or at least brought them to the forefront of our mind and of our knowledge. And we've heard that Mother Earth's heartbeat. And so, I wanted to give you a few other medicines here. If you would like, while we're doing this next meditation, you can either focus on this beautiful red flower here that is on the screen, or I want you to picture this cube, okay? This actually has to do with sacred geometry, okay? The cube is the shape of the earth, okay? It's our it's one of the first shapes that was created here on Earth. And so it's going to really help you to connect back into your root. And even me right now, I can feel my root buzzing a little bit with holding that cube shape there. So I want everybody to just come back into their space within themselves, and I want you to just take a nice few deep breaths. Just clean yourself out again. Just become completely and totally present. You can go ahead and you can brush yourself off if you would like. Get anything off that has accumulated over the day, accumulated over the time that we've spent together. And just get it to go back to Mother Earth. Excellent. And then what I would like you all to do is I want you to envision in your mind's eye that deep red color or brown, like the soil. I want you to breathe that into your being, coming in all directions and all dimensions of your being while you breathe in. Breathing in that earth. Releasing anything back to the earth. And then when you're ready, I want you to start to rekindle that pelvic floor tightening. So starting to do those Kegels. When you breathe in, tighten that pelvic floor. And when you breathe out, relaxing it. And just do that a few times. Re-engaging that root. And then with your next breath, I want you to breathe in and I want you to Care Bear out of your heart again. So breathe in that earth energy, pull it up to your heart center, and you're going to push it out of your heart in both directions, all around you, surrounding you, in a great big large bubble. Breathing in, Care Bear out. Seeing that vibrant red or that earth-based color, that soil, that brown, being projected out and all around you into your aura. And then what I'm going to get you to do is I'm going to get you to bring your hands into prayer position. I'm just going to ask us to bring our hands up to our third eye. And we're just going to ask Reiki to come in. Reiki, Reiki, Reiki. And then bring your hands back down to your heart center. And then you can even drop them down to your groin areas. So I just like to put them in between, my pelvis and my thighs. Just right in that crevice of where your groin sits. And I just want you to become fully and completely present to that area. I want you to breathe into that space, creating space. Observing. Accepting. Not trying to change it. If there's aches or pains, just become present with it. Feel it. Don't expect it to change or alter. It's there for a reason. You can even ask it, do you have a message for me? What can I do for you? And if you become still enough and quiet enough, you will hear the natural intelligence of your cells speak back. I am here. I am here. I am love. I am light. I am beauty. I am truth. I am perfect and I am whole. I am that I am, and I am enough. I am Reiki. Bring your hands to your heart center. I would like you to all bring your prayer hands to your third eye, bowing. In honor of Usuri, the founder of Reiki, to Reiki itself, we give our thanks. And of a snap of your fingers or clap of your hands, we're just going to break that energy. Roll of the shoulder. Yeah, get your body moving. Bring yourself completely back. You know, sometimes I kind of feel a little spacey at times if I don't snap that energy out. So make sure that you do that. Oh, lovely. So does anybody have anything to share with, you know, the sensations that they felt when, you know, you first engaged in that root chakra at the beginning of the presentation? And then was there any shift, any change by the end of it?
So Amanda, for me, so I am a Reiki master now for about, I'm going on about 2 years. And it's always fun to sit with somebody else, right? And learn what they know and listen to what their truth is. So it was very beautiful for me tonight. I actually even moved to the grass. I don't know if you saw me do that, but I was sitting in my chair and I'm like, I need to go be on the grass to do this root chakra. And I was overwhelmed with some emotion tonight. And it was beautiful because I was like, wow, I didn't realize I had something I needed to let go. And it just felt good. I've never done the Kegel exercises with the root chakra and that breathing and your fear stuff. So it was very, very nice. It was very good. I felt very good. I feel very refreshed and I've learned something new. So that's good. I always love to learn something new. So I appreciate you. Thank you.
I appreciate you coming out tonight. That's beautiful. I'm glad that you've learned something new because, you know, that's always in the back of your mind as a mentor, whether you're actually bringing material that's new and fresh and going to add some value to your life, right? So I appreciate that feedback. Thank you so much for sharing.
You bet.
Did you have any, like, I know that you're a master, but did you have any other sensations, like any warmth, just for anybody who has never experienced Reiki before?
For me, when you did the drums, and I'm new to drums. I absolutely love them. I listen to them. I don't have one.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, I do a lot of shamanic sort of guided meditations and whatnot. But the rhythm that you had tonight, I don't know if it was just me and being in the perfect spot at the perfect time or whatever, that was absolutely, I guess the word would be primal.
Mm-hmm.
Just very visceral, very primal, but very comforting at the same time, not disruptive, not yucky energy, because I know yucky energy. And it just felt very, very cleansing for me. I must go buy a drum or get one or make one or something. I've got to go find one now.
Yeah, for sure. Right. So that's a great lesson you learned tonight.
But for people who have not done this, I've been doing Reiki for 4 or 5 years probably.
Mm-hmm.
For new people, just understanding that connection to the earth, the magnetic field, the pulse, and what you feel, the more you do it, the more you feel it. When you asked me to put my hands in Namaste and my hands are vibrating. Somebody needs to come over and get some Reiki right now, because my hands are just like, what? You know what I mean? So very, very, very nice.
Well, I encourage you to lay your hands on yourself.
Right.
There you go. There you go. Right.
Do that. For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
That's the most important part of it, is that we treat ourselves, right? That's why it's our first degree of teaching. So
absolutely. And that was a very huge thing for me to learn when I started doing Reiki, because I'm a nurse, so I take care of everybody else,
right,
to my detriment most of the time. And so when I started doing this Reiki stuff, I was like, wait, I have to take care of me? No, that's foreign. But it's truly very important. Like you just said, it's the number one thing. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm, for sure.
Yep. So.
One of your greatest lessons and mine. I'm an osteopath and a massage therapist, so I've always been the care provider, right? So going through this mastery is been brilliant for me to truly return back to myself. And
absolutely.
I've learned more about myself in these last couple of years that I've done my mastery program than feel like I've ever known about myself. So it's a brilliant tool to have in the toolbox, and I'm grateful that I have that. So thank you.
Me too.
Deanna.
No, thank you. I absolutely appreciate you, and it's amazing. Good luck with your little baby. I'm so excited for you. My kids are big. I have a 22-year-old and an almost 19-year-old, so I'm looking forward to grandbabies eventually. A few years, but
give them some time, right? Give them some time.
It's just the most amazing thing, to have that little person there inside of you, and just, I used to read books. I wish I would have known Reiki back then, so that I could relax with my babies. But anyway, I think that's so awesome. So
it was meant to be the way that it is, right?
For sure. Absolutely.
You probably wouldn't appreciate it as much as you do now if it was when you were younger. So
that's probably true.
So I want to invite you all to share if you would like. I don't know if anybody else is available to share, but if you want to, come on out and share with us. If that's not the case, if everybody's preoccupied with something else, that's okay as well. But I just want to invite everybody out to the next series, which is going to be all about those boundaries and those responsibilities or accountability. So understanding truly what healthy boundaries are. This is, again, another thing that I haven't really explored until the last couple of years. And I'm grateful that I have the understanding now, especially being a mother, being able to encourage healthy boundary setting within my children. Excuse me. And we're going to be actually doing that. I know that I posted on the elite group that we would be doing it September, I believe the 15th. However, I am actually going to be going to visit my sister in British Columbia. So I'm going to push that a couple of weeks later, and we'll be doing that gathering on September the 26th. So if you would like to join me again, I would love for you all to come out, even the replay viewers. I want you to come out so that I can see your beautiful faces and smiles and share in this beautiful experience of Reiki with you all. And of course, the other chakra therapies like drumming and the visualizations and the purging and such. So September the 26th at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we're going to be covering, the root chakra and in-depth understanding the boundaries and responsibilities we have that will really create that foundation for you to help you truly step into who you are as a person and not be influenced by those externals, not be swayed by the external environments that we're so encouraged to be swayed by these days. So come on out, join me, and until then, have a beautiful night and take the time to feel those vibrating hands, feel those warm, tingly. Mine are sweating right now, actually.
I know, right? I'm like,
yeah, put them somewhere on yourself and let that Reiki energy flow and enjoy this grounding sensation. With me personally, when I have this grounding sensation, I feel I don't feel as spacey in my head. I feel very present. I feel like I can truly listen to people and not just hear them, but listen to them and feel them through all of my six senses. And it's a great place to be.
Excuse me.
So many people are disconnected and are imbalanced, and this really brings back that balancing between what we are, the heaven and the earth, right? We're the heaven and the earth, and a lot of people forget about that earth aspect. So we want to greatly encourage that connection. So get on out, hug a tree if you're not in Costa Rica or someplace where there's crazy spiders and snakes and stuff that will harm you. We don't want any harm, right? Go earth yourself, like Deanna suggested. Get yourself on some grass, bare feet, push the edges of comfort. Push the edges of comfort when it comes to connecting to earth, because it's so essential within our healing. And I'll look forward to seeing you all at the end of September. Love to you all.
Thank you.
Take care. Namaste.
Namaste.